Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right in, because today we're taking a strictly factual, completely objective look into one of the darkest, most controversial locations in modern history. We're going to break down the mystery of Epstein Island. We'll be looking at the facts, the investigations, and those massive lingering questions relying absolutely solely on verified evidence. So let's get into it. Picture a private island. For years, this heavily guarded little spot down in the Caribbean was known to only a very select few. I mean, it was designed to be a completely isolated environment, totally cut off from public view, tightly controlled and hidden from any outside scrutiny. And you have to understand that isolation, it was entirely intentional. But it definitely wasn't empty. Behind those closed doors, this island attracted a staggering array of powerful visitors. We're talking about leading global figures here. People from the absolute highest echelons of business, politics, academia, and entertainment. It was essentially a nexus of global influence, all operating in total, unchecked secrecy. Eventually, though, those walls of exclusivity came crashing down. Court documents, relentless investigations, and really, most importantly, incredibly brave witness testimony shattered that secrecy once and for all. Over time, the public image of this secluded little getaway totally transformed. It became a global symbol of organized abuse.
Now, what's really interesting about this contrast is how wild the gap was between public perception and the actual horrifying reality. Because access was so locked down, the public's curiosity was basically just focused on the luxury and the exclusivity of it all. But the reality, which was finally exposed by the victims who were brave enough to come forward, was an organized, systemic nightmare of profound suffering and abuse, happening both there and at his other properties.
Which, of course, leads us to the inevitable question. Who actually was Jeffrey Epstein? Well, on paper, sure, he was a wealthy financier. But in reality, that immense wealth was a weapon. It was a tool he used to carefully cultivate these deep protective relationships with some of the world's most influential people. And that network effectively shielded him from any real consequences for years.
Let's look at the timeline to see how this builds, because his legal history is essentially a masterclass in missed warnings. Back in 2008, Epstein actually pleaded guilty in Florida to charges involving the sexual abuse of a minor. But he served this highly controversial, incredibly lenient jail sentence. Then, years went by. Thankfully, relentless investigations finally uncovered the true, massive web of allegations against him. This all culminated in July 2019 when he was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. But then, the legal process just abruptly halted. Barely a month later, he was found dead while awaiting trial.
I mean, that July 2019 arrest literally captivated the entire globe. After years of rumors and those earlier, highly criticized legal settlements we just talked about, people all around the world were really hoping that a full public trial would finally expose his dark network. They wanted accomplices brought into the light. The global anticipation for some actual public accountability was just immense. But that public trial and all the answers it would have provided, it never happened. Epstein's sudden death left the entire world trying to balance two deeply conflicting realities. On one hand, you have the official medical examiner ruling of suicide. But on the other hand, you have this backdrop of staggering, verified irregularities at the jail. I'm talking reported staffing failures, broken security cameras. The whole system seemed to break down. So naturally, the public immediately started questioning if the full story was being hidden.
Yet, as we look through the source material, we absolutely have to anchor ourselves to one critical, documented reality here. Listen, despite the undeniable procedural failures at that jail, failures that, for sure, fueled endless public speculation, the fact remains, to date, no credible public evidence has proven that Epstein was murdered. Separating documented facts from internet speculation is absolutely crucial when we look at cases like this.
So the crucial point is, because of his death, we are left with this massive void of information. It's like a giant puzzle with half the pieces missing. Yes, lawsuits have forced some facts into the light, but glaring gaps still remain. How exactly did he build such an impenetrable shield of powerful connections? Were other high-profile individuals complicit? Why on earth did the justice system miss these warning signs for over a decade? And, most importantly, will every victim ever receive true justice?
You know, the legacy of this dark mystery extends way beyond just one man or one island. This case was a real game changer. It permanently shifted the global conversation, forcing society to confront the harsh realities of human trafficking, the abuse of extreme power, and just the absolute necessity of holding the elite accountable. It really proved exactly why we must listen to victims and follow the evidence, literally no matter who it implicates.
Ultimately, Epstein Island is not remembered today for its luxury or its exclusive guest lists. Not at all. It is remembered for the suffering described by the survivors. And while some of the mysteries here have been answered through the tireless, relentless work of investigators and journalists, others, well, they might take years to fully unravel.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Based on all the verified facts we've covered, what do you believe is the absolute biggest unanswered question in this entire case? Take a moment, reflect on the evidence, and I would love for you to share your thoughts down in the comments. If you value this kind of clear, fact-based breakdown of really complex topics, make sure to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.